Thank you for joining today's webinar. We're going to be going over some of the enhancements that are coming up to the volunteering module. That is our module that allows for clubs and organizations to have members or non-members volunteer to help out with things like cleaning and cooking and potlucks and whatever needs your organization might have, where your members and non-members can show up and help out and offer their aid. The volunteering module is for that, and we've made some pretty cool new adjustments to the module. So we're going to go over all of those little tweaks. There's a good number of them. Before we do, let's go over just a little bit of housekeeping. So all of your microphones are muted. So if you have any questions, please enter those in the Q&A tool at the bottom of your Zoom screen. A recording of this webinar is going to be up on our YouTube channel. You'll see it there in a couple days. So if you want to refer back to any of these notes about the changes, you can always come there and we'll have that recording on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel, you can always find it on YouTube at clubexpress.com. That's clubexpress.com. So that dot is spelled out when you're searching for us on YouTube. You can also find us at ClubExpress on various other social media platforms. Finally, before we get into it, if you have any comments or anything for us about the way we're working, you can always go to clubexpress.com/reviews and let us know what you think about the way ClubExpress has been serving your needs. So let's get into the adjustments to the volunteering module. There are a lot of them. I'll go ahead and say at the top, there's not a lot of changes to the way you were using the module. So all of the capabilities that the module had before are still there. Nothing has been taken away or altered in a way that would prevent you from using it as you already have been using it. These are all just pretty much additions or modifications to the way it was previously working. Before I get into every single one of the changes, I want to briefly just talk through the way the volunteering module works prior. So I'm going to be bringing up things like volunteering opportunities and volunteering slots a lot. The way the volunteering module works, you essentially just go into the module and you set up two things in order to allow people to volunteer. You would set up an opportunity, which is kind of like an event. It's just a time and place or maybe a date range with a title and a description. Maybe you're having a potluck or maybe you're having, a track meet or something like that. That would be the kind of situation that you are needing volunteers for. And then there's something called volunteering slots, which for that opportunity, you would say, hey, we need 3 people to check people in. We need 5 people, manning the car wash. We need, X number of people doing, certain tasks. So you can always fill out your slots that way within that opportunity. So you would always have an opportunity, and inside that opportunity would be slots. So with that kind of brief description of the module out of the way, let's jump into what we have kind of enhanced about the volunteering module. I'm going to go down the list and then I'll switch over to share my screen and kind of demonstrate some of those changes. We've made several updates to the way the public facing part of the module works. Most of those are just visual changes, so you can see a little bit more detail in a bit of a cleaner view on the public side of the volunteering module. Coming with that is a few extra bells and whistles for the process of your members or non-members signing up for a volunteering opportunity, including important things like the ability for them to tell if something that they're signing up for overlaps with something else that they've already signed up for. We've also updated the look of the volunteering administration screen. So that screen has been given a facelift. It's got the new ClubExpress buttons. The search tools for searching for your opportunities have been updated so that you're able to more accurately search through all of your volunteering, including things like some of our organizations had hundreds of volunteering opportunities over the years that they've been with ClubExpress. And it used to just be one big page with every single opportunity. We've added things like paging to that. So now if you have over 50, it'll overflow to next page thing, like paging through results on, most websites. We've also updated the opportunity configuration. So when you're creating an opportunity, we've added a number of new settings to that page. We've added an option for you to format your description. So when you are editing your opportunity, you can add things like fonts and underlines and colors and things. So it's a lot more user controllable. It used to just be a plain text description. So now you can control the text directly in that description. We've also added the option for you to allow volunteers to to enter their own hours. So when you have a volunteer sign up, they can actually go to their member profile and look at their volunteering history and say, hey, I volunteered for 3 hours this day and 2 hours this day when I signed up for those things, and they can enter it themselves. We'll take a look at that process. It can either require approval from an administrator or not. So that option is given to you. You can let people just enter and claim their own hours, or you can say you can enter your hours, but we require an administrator to sign off on that. We've also updated the option for linking a volunteering opportunity to events. It didn't change the way it links to events. All we've changed is the way that you find that event. Again, previously you used to click a drop down and it would show you all of your future events. And for some organizations, they would have dozens or maybe even, over 100 upcoming events over the next couple of years. And that list used to be really, really long. But now we've given you the option to filter those events by category or by date so that they're a lot easier to find, and you can make that list a lot shorter so it's not quite so overwhelming. And then finally, to the actual opportunity configuration, we've added the option for reminder emails. So you can check a box and it'll allow you to send up to 3 reminder emails that people will get before it is time for them to show up for that event. We had a lot of cases where organizations were having to manually email and remind people that they had signed up for a volunteering slot. And now when they sign up for that slot, it'll send them an email reminder before it is time for them to show up to make sure that they, remember that they signed up for that. In the back end of volunteering, there's been a couple small changes. Things like we've added an attendance icon to our opportunity slot screen so that you can tell if attendance has been taken. We've also added something that we would call mass add hours, and that comes with an extra option called ad hoc slots. This is the option for us to, in a bulk manner, add individuals or multiple people to a volunteering opportunity all at the same time in a bulk manner, so that people can get added without having to sign up online. This is something a lot of our organizations were asking about because they were interested in having a volunteering opportunity and keeping track of those hours, but they didn't necessarily want to force all of their members or all of their non-members to go to the website and sign up ahead of time. They wanted to allow people to show up and give their aid and get credit for it without having to have signed up before. So this is a way for you to, kind of take attendance in person and then take that information to the website as an administrator and log all of those hours independently without having to have the member interact with the website directly. We've also added some new email distribution lists that are related to volunteering. So there's 3 new email distribution lists you can use to keep in contact with your volunteers. And finally, we've added some new reports as well. So you can get some additional kind of more detailed information about the way you've been receiving volunteering. So let's jump into kind of our demonstration for the day. I'm going to change my screen share and I'm going to show you some of these new updated tools. All right, so this is our demo website. This is our Northwest Balloon Club. This is a test environment where we have the new volunteering enhancements applied. I'm currently logged in as an administrator. I'm logged in as Martin Smith over here, and he has access to the control panel. So if we're going to take a look at our first changes, those are going to be our public changes. So instead of going into the control panel, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to head over and take a look at the volunteering page. So I'm going to click on volunteering on my menu. And the first thing we'll see is this has been given a slight kind of visual change. The search options here are relatively similar to what they were before. The primary changes in the search results. So when you are looking at your volunteering opportunities, we'll see here I've created an opportunity for people to kind of explain the new volunteering module. You'll see we have a pretty prominent button that lets you know how many spots are open. So this is how many volunteers we can still take in this volunteering opportunity. There's a big green button that says volunteer. And then we also have our start and finish date. And if it is linked to an event, there is a link right here where we can go ahead and click on that and it will take us to the event it is linked to. Previously, you would just click on volunteer and it would take you into the volunteering to give you more information. With the new updates, there is an option to either expand all of our existing volunteering options, or we can click on the 3 dots on the right-hand side to expand just a single one. And when you do that, you can see all of the details of the available slots. You can see contact information, the location where it's taking place. You can also see The description, when you see, you can now, stylize description. You can see I've added some colors and some underlines and bolds. This is something you couldn't do before. It used to just be plain text. So we can see all of the additional information about it, where previously you had to click into whatever volunteering you were interested in looking at. When we click on volunteering, we're going to see a slightly different change to the process to volunteering for our members and non-members. When we click on volunteer, so when we click on the option to volunteer for an open opportunity with available slots, we'll be taken to this screen. Because I'm logged in as an administrator, we will see multiple options to sign up for myself or sign up another member in my account. We'll see options because I'm an admin. I can sign up other members, or I can sign up a non-member if I like. As a member, if you have sub members, you will see this option to sign up people within your account. I think the terminology family will be changed shortly. We'll probably change that to sign up sub members. But this is an option for us to sign up other people that are connected within our account. We'll see the standard information. So this section hasn't changed from the way volunteering worked before. We would enter our name. We would enter if we want to have a contact phone number. We would enter what email we would be preferred to be contacted at. And that is where we will get those confirmations and reminders about this volunteering. And then we'll see the available slots that we can sign up for. And this has been given a kind of visual update, but functionally it's mostly the same. There is one functional change. When I go to sign up for a slot, I can sign up for different time slots at the same time. So I can sign up for multiple slots. I can say I want to, volunteer as a trainer from 9 to 2. But I may also want to volunteer as a trainer from, say, 1 to 6 p.m. as well. Previously, I could sign up for this and it would let me be signed up without any sort of kind of alert or anything. But those keen-eyed among you might notice that these two times overlap each other. They're taking place on the same day, and this ends at 2 p.m. and this one starts at 1 p.m. So these two slots would overlap. Now with the new updates, when I try to add myself as a volunteer as I'm signing up, it's going to give me an alert that says one or more of these slots overlap and are conflicting with each other. And it's going to show the slots that overlap in red. It still will allow me to sign up, so I can still come to this option and say I'm done volunteering, and I can still sign up for both of these slots. One more time, it's going to let me know, hey, these overlap, but just making sure that you're aware of this is what you're signing up for. And I can finish and save, and I can, sign up for that volunteering. And you'll see that I took up 2 of those spots, and we're able to look at the details and see that I have indeed signed up for those slots, even though they overlap. So we're not preventing people from overlapping their options. We are just making sure that they are aware that when they are signing up, if they do overlap, it gives them the option to cancel and go pick volunteering slots that don't overlap. So that is just a new feature to make sure that people are aware when they are doing that. So that is the primary change for how our members will interact with it. If you want to see the administrative changes, what we would have to do is head over to the back end of this module. So what we're going to do is we're going to head over to the control panel, and we're going to head to the volunteering module, which is going to be in the people tab of the control panel under website modules. I'm going to head over and I'm going to click on volunteering. And those of you who use the volunteering module a lot will already notice that this looks a little bit different than the way we're used to seeing it. We're going to see that the controls have changed to the kind of new style of ClubExpress buttons that you'll see in places like events and the people manager. So we've implemented those same style of buttons. The search fields have also been updated. So when you see category, you used to just be able to select one category. Now we have the option to select one category, or we can even select multiple. So if you have 5 or 10 categories, you can come in here and say, I want to look at volunteering opportunities that fall into, these 3 categories or just this category. You can get a little bit more specific with it. And the same is true for status. So now we also have the option to look for our closed opportunities, our published opportunities, canceled, open for signups. We can choose multiple or just select one or select none if we want to search for all of them. We also have the option to search for visibility. So there is now an option to say, I want to see my opportunities that are visible to everyone, visible to members only, or if I don't care, I can say, show me all of my visibilities. Once we search for our opportunities, we'll see what's available here. We can see there's that opportunity that I was just signing up for. We have new options inside the volunteering controls. So whenever we are adding a volunteer opportunity, or whenever we are editing an existing volunteering opportunity, there's been a few changes to that page. So when I click on the pencil, or when I click on the add volunteering opportunity button, it's going to take us to the volunteering opportunity configuration page. And on that page, we have added a couple of extra options. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to edit my learn the new volunteering system. So right off the bat, you'll see we still have the same option. This screen is going to look relatively the same. There's just been a couple tweaks to it. In the description section, you'll see we now use the formatted editor that you're probably used to from things like our emailing tools and our page editing tools. So this now gives you the option to do things like control your fonts, control your font sizes, colors, all of those kind of controls you would now have available to you when you are editing the description of your site. So you can stylize your description and add different font controls to it. Category, all of these start and finish dates remain the same. The next thing that has changed is down here under these little radio buttons that we have here, these little toggles. We've added an option that says allow volunteers to log hours. The default will be set to no, and that would have your volunteering opportunities work just the way they did before. But now for each opportunity, you can say, I want for this opportunity to allow my volunteers to log their own hours. And if we say yes, we'll see an additional pop-up here saying, do we require approval for that? So what this will do is it will allow volunteers in their member profile to go and enter their own list of hours that they volunteered for this opportunity. It does require them to have signed up for it, so they can't just enter it without having signed up. But if they have been signed up or assigned to it, they will see this once that date is passed, and they can enter how many hours they worked for it. If we choose the no option for approval required, when they enter those hours, they will immediately become approved. And an administrator can still go edit those things. But if we don't require approval, then it will be approved immediately. If we do require approval, then once that is submitted, the contact person for that volunteering opportunity will receive an email letting them know that someone has requested a number of hours to be credited to them for that volunteering. And then the admin, either that contact person or the admin, can go in and approve those hours. And I'll show you what that approval screen looks like, and I'll show you what it looks like for a member to enter their own hours here in just a few minutes. The next change to this page is on the link to events option. So if we say no here, then that whole text box disappears. But if we choose to link to an event, previously it used to just give us this event dropdown where it would show us all of our upcoming events. Now we have the option to filter by our event category. So if we said, hey, I want a flying event that's coming up, or I know the specific date range of the event that I want to link this to, all this will do, it will add a link to that event, letting people kind of show up and volunteer for things related to that event. So again, this is just linking directly to the event calendar, and it will have the event calendar link back to the volunteering. So this is how we connect that to an event. But previously, when you would click future event, it would show you all of your upcoming events. Now we have the option to kind of filter that down and just find our specific event that we want to link to. It makes it a lot easier to find the event you're looking for. The final change to this configuration page is down here under automated email notifications. This is an entirely new section. When we come down here and say automatically send a reminder, this is a toggle. If we turn this off, then it will not send reminder emails. But if we turn this on, we will get an option to send 1, 2, or 3 reminder emails. And all we have to do to turn those on is just enter a set number of days. If we say reminder email 1, send 1 day before, then it will send it the day before that they are set to volunteer. We can also say I want to send it, 4 days before, and then 2 days before, and 1 day before. So this will send them 3 separate emails, making sure that they remember they are supposed to show up for that volunteering. If you don't want to send people that many emails, you can just leave them blank. So I can say I just want to send 1 email, and I will leave these other 2 blank. I just want to send 1 email the day before. If you leave them blank, then it will not send reminder emails. You would only send the 1 reminder email. So you do not have to send all 3. So if we save that option, now we have updated that opportunity. We have used all of our new features on this opportunity. Let's take a look at what that changes for our members. So we talked about kind of the option for members to sign up for to log their own volunteering hours. If we go over to Martin's profile, if I have signed up for a volunteering opportunity that is in the past, we will see it in Martin's profile. So if we go over to Martin Smith and click on member profile, this is the member profile for my member here, Martin Smith. In the history section is where we will find our volunteering history. So right here at the bottom, we'll see volunteering history. And in volunteering history, we'll see two sections. We'll see future opportunities, and we can see there's that opportunity that I just signed up for a couple minutes ago. And we can click this little drop down to see the details, and we'll see that I signed up for 2 slots. Those are those overlapping slots that I signed up for. We have added an extra little button right here, and is this little calendar icon that will add it to your calendar. That will download an ICS file. So if you use Google Calendar or Outlook Calendar or any really online calendar, will recognize the file that this will create, and it'll just immediately add it to your device's calendar. So this is a way for you to set a reminder in your calendar. It'll download the details of the location. All of that kind of connected information will get pulled along when you choose that. Members also have the option to delete a volunteering sign up. So if they say, hey, I'm actually not able to volunteer from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m., I can only do the morning, I can choose this little trash can option, and I can cancel the sign up and say I can only do that one sign up. And we'll see now I just have the one available for 9 to 2, and I can even delete that one if I wanted to. So that's for our future opportunities. If we go down to past opportunities, we can say, volunteering past opportunities, and we can see down here, here's my fall fly-in. This is something that I signed up well in the past. This was earlier in August. And we can see this is an opportunity and a slot that allows me to enter my own hours. So we'll see the details about the volunteering that I signed up for, and you'll see that hours work is blank, status is blank, and there's a little maintain option with a pencil. When a member clicks on this pencil, if the volunteering opportunity allows members to log their own hours, they can click on this pencil and say, hey, I worked for, a number of hours. I only worked for 2 hours. So it's a 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. event. So that's up to a total of 4 hours. If I try to log too many, so it'll say required hours must be valid between 0 and 4 because it is from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. So the maximum I can log is 4 hours. If I left early, I can say I only stayed for 3 hours and I can save. And if it requires approval, the status will immediately go into pending. If it is pending, then I can still come in and edit it as a member. I can say, hey, I said 3 hours, but I ended up going back and working an extra hour. I can come here and change this to 4. And it'll still stay in pending until an admin approves it. If it does not require approval, once it is submitted, then it'll immediately go to the approved status. The hours worked will get logged, and it will no longer be editable once it's been approved. So now that it's pending, let's take a look at what it looks like to kind of approve that as an admin. So we've had Martin Smith kind of come in here and say, hey, I worked 4 hours. That will generate an email to the volunteering contact saying, hey, someone has requested credit hours for volunteering, and it will ask them to approve those hours. There will be a link in that email for our volunteering admin to just jump straight to that approval screen. If they just go and log into the website normally without clicking on that link, the way they would get to the approval screen would be going to the control panel once again and going to the volunteering module under people. And you'll see one of these new buttons here. We've got 2 new buttons. We'll get to the mass log hours button here in just a minute, but one of the new buttons is mass approve hours. And this is where we can come in and we can look at all of our pending approvals. And we can see I just submitted 4 hours for Martin Smith, and I have the option to either approve or reject. I can do them one by one by saying Martin Smith, I approve, and I can click on the approve button, or I can click on the reject button as an admin to approve or reject those hours. If we were to have, say, 20 or 30 people submit hours and they all look good, we can do them all at the same time. So we can approve them in bulk by either checking multiple options off all at once, or I can use this deselect or select all option right here to check everyone. And then I can either reject everyone or approve everyone. And it will, again, in it'll kind of approve or reject them. If you choose to reject them, they will see in their profile that it will say not approved, and they have the option to resubmit those. They can go and click on the pencil to edit those volunteering hours and resubmit them. It'll go back into the pending status, and it'll repeat this process until they enter a number of volunteering hours that an admin approves. So once we approve this option, we'll say volunteering hours approved. And then Martin Smith in his profile will see that that no longer says pending. It will say approved. All right. So now let's go back. If we go to mass log hours, this is going to be something slightly different than the hours approval. So if instead of having a member submit their own hours, if we go to mass log hours, this is going to be an option where we can go in and give our volunteers credit without them having to enter the hours themselves. Um, so if we click on this screen, we'll see three different buttons across the top here. We will also see the option to kind of search for our volunteers, and this will show us all of our volunteers that have signed up for specific opportunities or all opportunities. So if we click the option to say, show me the learn to volunteer, we'll see here's all the people that have signed up for that volunteering. We can see how many hours they've already been credited for, and we can also see if they have not yet been credited hours. We can come through and we can, just like before, we can check off multiple people and we can say, hey, I know Greg Cho showed up for the full time. He deserves the full 5 hours of credit. And I can also say, I also saw Larry show up. He actually volunteered for only 2 hours, not the full 3 hours. We can come in and we can change and apply these volunteering hours. This does not require approval because this is just an admin entering and submitting these hours. So there's no approval process for this. We can come in and we can check and uncheck as many people as we want, and we can just save those changes and it will apply those hours to those volunteers. We can also add volunteers to our opportunities and our available slots directly from this screen. So up at the top, we've got three new buttons. We've got the add single non-member volunteer button. We've got the add single member volunteer button, and we've also got the option to add multiple member volunteers. All of these will add volunteers to an existing opportunity, and we can say they have worked for this opportunity and also already volunteered this number of hours. The intent of this screen is to go and apply volunteers to an opportunity after the opportunity has already passed. The idea is that a member would show up to volunteer. Maybe they haven't signed up online, but we want to give them credit for it. So we can just come to this screen and apply credit to that member. So a quick example would be if we want to add a single member volunteer, someone else showed up without signing up, we would select our member. For this case, I'll go ahead and say Rick. The opportunity would be our learn the new volunteering. The slot we would select would be one of the three slots that we have available. I'll go ahead and say Rick came and volunteered 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. and he volunteered the whole time and is going to get credit for 5 hours. And I can just save this option. It will add Rick as a volunteer to this volunteering option. It'll add to that slot for a total of 5 hours, and it will log him as having attended and completed that. So that's one way we can add one member to a volunteering and go ahead and log their hours as having volunteered. Another option is we can add multiple people at the same time. So we can say multiple members. So we can once again select that new volunteering. We can choose that same 5 to 10 slot. We can say all of these people worked for 5 hours, and we can actually select multiple people at once. So we can either use this little search tool to search for them by their last name, or we can just scroll through our members and find them. We can say, you know, Barney Rubble and Maxwell and Devin and Betsy and Minnie, and we can say all of these people signed up for this slot. If we select too many people, and the slot only has, you know, I know for a fact that slot only has 5 spots open. If I try to add too many people to that volunteering and hit save, it'll give me an error message that says this is beyond what you can fit. We have to make sure that it is within how many people can fit in that opportunity slot. So once I've got four here, I know I have four remaining. It will let me add four people to that slot. And now that whole slot is full. We've got all five volunteers that we needed for that volunteering slot, and we can add people that way. One thing we had a lot of administrators ask for is an ability to kind of go beyond the limitation of slots. So let's say we have a slot that only has five spots open, but seven people show up and they volunteer. Suddenly we've gone beyond what we needed, but maybe we still want to give them credit for it. We can make what we call an ad hoc slot. A lot of people, when they hear ad hoc in reference to ClubExpress, they think it's related to like ad hoc reports or ad hoc forms. This is just another usage of the Latin ad hoc, which just means as needed. So that means we need a slot. So there isn't an available slot to fit these volunteers. Any of these three options, the add single member, add multiple members, or add non-member, all of these will have an option called opportunity, and we choose the slot. We'll see the available slots that are already baked into the opportunity, but there's an option that says add new ad hoc slot. What this will do is it will create a slot on demand, and we can say this slot is going to take place on the 6th. How many hours is this slot worth? We're going to say everyone who showed up on this day worked for 4 hours. And we can select any number of people. We can select a bunch of people here if we want to. We say we've got 9 people here. And we can add all of these people, give them all 4 hours of volunteering credit for this new ad hoc slot that is within the opportunity that we selected. So for our learn the new volunteering opportunity, we have this new ad hoc slot for this date and for 4 hours with 9 people. When I save this, you'll see they'll all show up here and you'll see they're available on this ad hoc slot. They're getting credit for 4 hours. We can always come back to this screen and change how much credit we're giving them. But if we go back to that volunteering opportunity, we'll cancel out of this screen. If we go back to the learn the new volunteering option and we go click on the slots icon, it's the second icon over, it looks like a calendar. This is where we can decide how many volunteers we need and when we need them. We can see there has been a new ad hoc slot created. Right now, it's got 15 people in it because I've already done that to this event once today already, and I added 6 people earlier. So with 9 more, now we're up to 15. You'll notice for the ad hoc slot, we don't have quite as many maintain icons. Once an ad hoc slot is created, you can only add people to it using that option. You cannot remove an ad hoc slot. You cannot copy it. You cannot make changes to the date and time. All you can do is come in here and make changes to who is applied to this slot. So we can always come in here and we can change the information for who is volunteering for this slot, and we can remove people. So if we accidentally added people, we could use this screen to remove them from this slot. But otherwise, the ad hoc slot is just there as a placeholder to say these people volunteered for this opportunity. This is something a lot of people have been asking for because they say, hey, I don't really, I just want to log people volunteered X number of hours. I don't really care about entering slots. I don't really care about having people sign up beforehand. So if you're just using the volunteering module as an administrative tool and you don't want to kind of set up the individual slots with individual times, this is a way for you to kind of manual admin entry people and just say, hey, I want to give everyone, an hour of credit for this day as this ad hoc slot without having to, have people sign up online. Ad hoc slots are admin only, so keep that in mind. There isn't an option for a member to sign up for their own ad hoc slot. It is only an option for admins to enter your members manually. All right, so let's talk about a couple extra options when we're looking at this page. We've added a couple new reports. We've added 2 new reports. One of them is currently a slightly different name than I think it will be its final name. So if we look at the options for reports in our volunteering, most of these are the reports that have been there for a while already. One new one will be the member and non-member family hours. That is not the final name. This report is going to get adjusted. I believe it will be member group hours, I think is the final name that this will be. What this will do is it will allow you to see the total hours volunteered by your group memberships. So those of you who have memberships that have primary and secondary and possibly even tertiary members, it will total up the total value for those group memberships. So if you have, group memberships, maybe a family membership where you have, a spouse and children who all showed up and volunteered, and let's say a family of five showed up and volunteered for 3 hours, it would give you the total that they committed 15 total volunteer hours. Three people working for 5 hours would be, or five people working for 3 hours, apologies, would give you their total volunteer hours as 15 hours. So to kind of group them together and let you see how long each group membership has volunteered for. If someone is a primary member or an individual member and they don't have sub members, then they'll just show up on the line once and it'll just give you their personal total. The other new report is the opportunity report, which will just give you a summary of opportunity details, one after the other, and it'll just give you details about the kind of like summary of that opportunity. Similar to the opportunity slot by category, it's just a more specific report that a couple admins were asking for. So you can look at those in your own time. I'm not going to delve into those today. It's just a lot of kind of similar information to that we've seen before, just in a new format. One new item, or three new items that we've added to our emailing option. So if we head back to our control panel and we head over to our communications tab, we've added new volunteering based options to our emailing module. So when we head into send a bulk email, we have the option to create an emailing. And when we edit our emailing distribution list, there are now three new options available. When we choose to create a new list and we choose who we want to send this email to, one new option is the fulfilled option, and volunteers who have fulfilled their volunteering hours. So this is going to let us see all of the people who have filled their required volunteering hours. Those of you who use the volunteering to help your members reach a certain number of volunteer hours to qualify for membership, this might be very important for you. So this is going to let us say, hey, starting from January this year, all the way through December this year, I want to see who has completed their volunteering hours. And we can just add that option. And this will show us everyone who has met their volunteering requirement for this time frame. So whatever your annual time frame or monthly time frame for required volunteering hours, this will just email those who have met that requirement. Another option is volunteers within a certain date range. So there's an option for volunteers who have volunteered within a specific date range. So when someone signs up for volunteering, this will check to see who is volunteering. It doesn't matter what opportunity they're volunteering for. It's just that they have been assigned or have signed up for a volunteering opportunity slot within a certain time frame. So we can say maybe it's the beginning of September. So let's go look at our August. Let's send an email to our August and send them a thank you for volunteering last month. So we can say from the beginning of August to the end of August. And we can send an email to everyone that volunteered last month. And we can just add, and this will send an email to everyone that volunteered within a certain time frame. And then finally, we've also added volunteers of a specific opportunity. So everyone who volunteered for an opportunity. Oh, that didn't work. There we go. There we go. So when you select everyone who volunteered for an opportunity, it'll ask you for which opportunity you want to email. And I can say, I want to do our Learn the New Volunteering. And you can leave it just like that to send an email to everyone that signed up for that entire opportunity. You can also drill down further and say, I want to email just specifically the people that were there from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. And we can just target just that slot. Or maybe we want to target our new ad hoc slot, all of those 15 people that are in that slot, or any of these timeframes. And keep in mind, we can repeat this process. If we want to email all of our trainers, but not the people that showed up for that ad hoc slot, we can just add this 3 times for each of our 3 slots. So we can email all of our trainers, but we can leave our ad hoc slot off if we just want to hit these people. And then we can just save that option and send an email to this group of people. That is most of the changes. One final thing I'll point out is that there's been a couple places where we've added, if we head back to our volunteering page, we've added the kind of add to my calendar link in a bunch of places. So that's something we're trying to do more often whenever we have time-based opportunity or time-based modules on our website. So volunteering is, based on a date and time. So it's certain calendar options. We're trying to add more of those add to my calendar options so people can integrate, your website into their personal calendars a little bit easier. So we've already had that on our events calendar for a long time, but now we're adding that in several places for volunteering as well. So when your members look at volunteering, if they look at the details, you'll see there's an add to calendar option. So we can add these slots. So if I sign up for this slot, I can go ahead and immediately add this to my calendar. Also, the confirmation and reminder emails will also come with this link to add to their calendar, as well as showing up in the actual member profile as well. So again, we saw that in the member profile when we looked at our volunteering history. When we look at what we volunteered for, once again, there's that add to calendar. So we've added that add to calendar link all over the place so that people can very easily access adding that to their personal calendars. I think that is most of my updates, Sam. How are we doing on questions about these changes?
We are doing fabulously on questions. So, a couple of things to keep in mind. If you are setting up volunteering for the first time, you might navigate to the module on your menu, and it might be blank if you don't have any opportunities set up. Also, when you are setting up volunteering for the first time, you will be asked to create volunteering categories and slot categories before you can even get started. So remember, we love categories at ClubExpress, so you'll need to just add in a few more. If you're wondering about the types of categories that you might add for slots versus opportunities, check out our help system. We have a couple of articles in there to explain the difference between the two, and that might help you think up of your categories that you might be using there. As far as non-member information that you might be collecting for your volunteers, there isn't a way to uh, dis sorry, the word escaped me. There isn't a way to determine specific pieces of information you want to collect from those non-members the same way that you can within your events calendar. So first name, last name, email address, and phone number, and that of the email address, of course, is being used to contact those volunteers if you need to, but you don't have the ability to add in additional fields that you might want to collect. For example, the place that they work, that's definitely something you can collect in the event calendar, but not within volunteering.
There is,
Oh, sorry.
I will jump in on that really quickly. Um, it's not specific to non-members, but I have seen people. This isn't new, so this is something that volunteering has had for a long time. But if there is a piece of information that you feel like you need to collect, when you're creating a volunteering opportunity, there is an option that is called ask volunteers a question right there. So you can add your own kind of like as needed question. You can say, what is your profession? If I could type clearer. Um, and it would just give them a text box to answer that question when they sign up for that slot or for this opportunity. So if there is additional information, you can attempt to collect it that way. So that is one place where you can collect it. Keep in mind, again, that's not specific to non-members. That is everyone that signs up for this opportunity. But if there is a specific piece of information that you really want to encourage people to collect, to enter when they sign up, you can enter it there.
Another couple of questions that came through to reiterate when these changes will be available on your site. That is Monday. So, Monday, when you sign in, you'll see all of these new changes available. And if you want to edit any of your opportunities to allow your members to be able to submit hours for approval, you will have that ability. So, any of those existing opportunities, if you want to maybe try out this feature, you can do that. Another question that came through, and I feel like this is one we get quite often, and Devin, maybe you have some insight as to this changing for ongoing volunteering opportunities. So, volunteering opportunities that don't have a start or a finish date, where you're just asking for people to show up when they need to. A lot of people asking about the slots also not requiring a start or a finish date or a time. So, something to note is the time, excuse me, the dates that you would add for slots, that's not required if you are adding slots to an open-ended opportunity. But a time is still required for those slots, a specific time of day. The only difference between open-ended volunteering opportunities and ones with a start or finish date is that those slots won't need to have a date associated with them. A quick caveat, if you happen to add an event to an open-ended volunteering opportunity, your slots will need to take place during that event. But anything else, you're able to add in those slots and not have them associated with a specific date range. But again, the time of day is still required for those slots. And we do have some people asking if that is something that can be added as an option to not have the time required for those slots. Have you heard anything about that being an option? And I
S-
feel like it may not be
I haven't.
because we're tracking hours
Yeah.
most likely.
Yeah, the because hours are so integral to so many of the reports and the fields within volunteering, um, for right now, for the time being, um, the time is a requirement for the slots because that's how the module gives credit for people having attended, and you can see the total number of volunteer hours. Without those hours being tracked, I think it throws some things off. It would probably take some developer work for us to make that optional. Perhaps a different type of category or something like that. We could take that into consideration. Um, I would also recommend if you're having some sort of sign up that you want people to fill in, maybe answer a couple questions, but you're not tracking hours or attendance or something like that. It's just a sign up form. You could use something like our ad hoc forms to create a manual sign up form just to get a list of names if attendance and hours are not quite as important. Um, so that would be one way to approach that would just be to make it a form instead of using the volunteering module, because again the volunteering module is so tied into hours and volunteering hours. Two of our big buttons up in here mention hours, so time is always going to be kind of an integral part of that. Someone did ask, can we show an example of an open-ended opportunity? When we say open-ended, we just mean something without a close time. So you can leave the finish date blank. I think you're able to, yeah, just leave the finish time blank. So if we wanted to turn an opportunity into an open-ended one, we would just take the finish date out and save that. And so now there isn't a finish date on that opportunity, and we can add slots, to any date or even without a date anywhere within that opportunity. So that way we could use it, well into the future. The opportunity doesn't end per se. That is the only change, and that would just help it not disappear off of the volunteering screen. So on our volunteering screen, you'll see, it starts on a certain day and ends on a certain day. If you leave both of those dates out, then it just exists without time. We had a question. How
Couple
do
of,
you, what were we going to say, Sam?
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
We had a question about how to add another member. If you mean how to add like a member to a volunteering opportunity, there's a couple ways you can do that. As an admin, you can do it straight from the volunteering opportunities screen. So you can come to the volunteering screen. We have the option to sign up another member as an admin. I don't know if you know the first name and email address, you can sign them up that way in the volunteering module. But I'm going to take what I think is the easier route and go to the control panel and go to volunteering in the people tab. And again, there's that option to mass log hours. So there's two ways. If you are logging someone after the volunteering has taken place and they showed up and you want to add them as a volunteer that showed up in person or showed up to volunteer after it took place, we could come to this screen and add a single member, and we could sign up, you know, someone for this option. Um, the other option would be to come as an admin and we can go into the slot itself and we can click on one of the little people icons for whichever slot we want to add people to. So we can say for this 9 to 2 slot, we can click on the little people icon here and we can assign a member. If you're talking about a member adding another member, Sam, correct me if I'm wrong. Can members sign up other members to volunteer? I don't think they can.
They cannot. They can only sign up additional members in their membership.
Right. So they can add, so like if you're a primary member, you can sign up one of your secondaries. It'll be this option over here. Again, if right now it says sign up family. I think that might change. Um, but it would be this final option on the right hand side over here. And we can come over here and we can see because I'm Martin Smith, I have Sally, Robert, and Mary as a part of my membership. And I can sign up Robert for, you know, these two open slots. And I could say, you know, Robert's going to volunteer for these times. But as an admin, we have the option to sign up another member, but that is not available to non-administrators. Non-administrators can't just go and add other people. If the other people are also members, the best way for them to get other members to sign up is just for them to tell those other members, hey, go log into the website and sign up for this volunteering because they already have a member login and they can absolutely go and log in themselves and volunteer themselves for that slot.
And the question on why you would need an email for the member when you're signing them up, that's just if you're going through the front end of the module. If you are going through the back end and the control panel, like Devin showed, you don't need to enter an email address and you can use the member selector that you're probably familiar with from a handful of other modules. That way you can kind of just scroll through the member list and yeah, we'll see there, like we're always used to. So you won't need to, try and remember anyone's email address if that's not something that you can come up with at the top of your head. A couple of other questions that came up to just reiterate when a slot is marked as attended, if it's connected to an event, that attendance is not connected to event attendance. Your volunteers may be completely different from your event registrants. Someone who's volunteering may not necessarily be attending the event, and vice versa. So the attendance of one does not affect the attendance of another. And if people are volunteering for overlapping volunteering slots, so now that's something that you'll get warned that you're potentially doing, but you're able to do that if you maybe have approved that for the member and let them know that they are able to sign up for those two slots. But the question is how will the system calculate the slot to be closed? The system is basing when to close that slot out based on the number of volunteers, regardless of who that volunteer happens to be. So if one person signing up for multiple slots closes out a couple of those slots, that's the way that functions then, and it's functioning the proper way. So you don't save a slot necessarily by having someone sign up for two overlapping slots. If they're signing up for a slot and there's only one position left, then that'll fill up that slot.
Precisely. So like for example, right here, this 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. slot, um, it's currently 5 of 5 full, so it is closed. No one else can sign up for this slot. If someone were to try to sign up, it would show up as grayed out, and they would not uh, show up as an available slot. These first two, the 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and the 1 p.m. to 6 p.m., those are not full. They have 5 spots, but have 3 filled and 0 filled. So those are currently open.
A couple of comments about the volunteering contact. So the volunteering contact is the person who is technically maybe responsible for managing the opportunity. They have access to that single opportunity. They also get all of their contact information included in the volunteering confirmations and reminders. So you have a couple of options there to show their contact information, notify them when someone has registered, or and also their contact information again is included in those system emails. Without a contact person, I believe it is the president's email that's shown, or is it the club contact?
I believe it is the whoever is filling the president role.
Okay. And so that slot's main contact can add volunteers, but they aren't going to be able to change anything else for that volunteering opportunity. As far as contacting someone who might be a volunteering opportunity's main contact, there isn't a distribution list for someone who's the main contact of an opportunity. You would just need to send that person, that individual, an email, and there's a distribution list to allow you to choose one single member from the database. I think that that might wrap up the questions that we have.
All right. Well, as we've mentioned before, we will have the recording of this session available on our YouTube channel. These releases will go out Monday the 9th. So keep your eyes out for those of you who are using the volunteer module. You should see the updated tool on Monday. And if you have any comments, please let us know. And yeah, thank you so much for attending, and we look forward to continuing to improve all of these modules and keep adding features that people are looking for. All right, I'll see you guys later.